Boom, we're live.
So,
Nice. Hey, everybody, our millions of fans. Adam Zimbrowski here. My nephew, an amazing human being, Michael Zimbrowski, is right here with me, although a few miles away up in Massachusetts. I'm in North Carolina. Um, we are on episode number 40, and your dad and my bro have been doing this for now 40 straight weeks, and we recognized you last week actually because it was a week after or shortly after your birthday, and we wished you a happy birthday. Our first episode, Michael, was on May 25th, which is your grandma, our mom's birthday. So it was pretty cool. And we talked through a little bit about you graduating college and all that kind of stuff. And so the topic here, so we are live on LinkedIn Live and the YouTube channels and everything. This is called the People Who Move
hmm,
podcast, right?
yeah.
And so you absolutely represent someone who moves, and you've done things, you've accomplished things already that I think is pretty cool. And we're going to talk through your knowledge and your schooling and education that you've received, but we're also going to talk about the fact that you are going to Japan a little bit later this year, and you are also graduating from Worcester Polytechnic Institute (WPI) this year, and you're also going to go visit out in Zion National Park. You and I talk a little bit about your booking experience. So we're going to talk about, from your perspective, what those experiences are. And we're going to talk about, very briefly, probably, I'm not sure, we'll see how it goes, but mechanical engineering and what
Mhm.
it means to the hotel industry, and what it means to you, and possibly some of the things that we could be doing better in our industry as it relates to mechanicals. And so welcome, Michael. How you doing,
Yeah,
man?
thank you. No, I'm excited to be here. I think it's cool. I've only recorded like one podcast once. I don't even think we ever posted it. But this is pretty cool. I didn't know it's been going on for that long, but yeah, I'm excited to talk today.
Very cool. So you, yeah, thanks for spending the time. You're at college right now,
Mhm.
WPI. You're graduating this year. You are a mechanical engineering student. What's the actual degree that you're graduating with? What is that?
So it's a bachelor's of science in mechanical engineering.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
I've had the benefit of spending a little bit of time with you every now and again on vacation, watching you
Yeah.
do homework, and I've always been fascinated. And the reason that is because I've often said that I've worked almost every position at hotels in the first like 10, 15 years of my career in almost every department. But the only two jobs that I've wished that I had, like I'm talking about full-time title jobs,
Hmm.
are chief engineer and security director of security.
Hmm.
John Cardonia is a good friend of mine, former coworker or I should say current coworker and partner. He's been on this show many, many, many times. John Paisano, shout out to you, brother. John is he is a Navy veteran, and we've all seen Top Gun, maybe the first one, maybe the most recent one. But John was one of those guys working on jet engines for the Navy, and he was on those battleships or the aircraft carriers, waving in those planes, like just like you see in like the first episodes
Yeah.
of Top Gun or the first scenes of Top Gun. Fascinating guy, and he's been working in building and project management and construction and in the hotels and out of hotels for many years. And there is a reason why I am attracted to him professionally and talking about stuff is because he's got so much knowledge that I don't have, right? He's got so much experience that I don't have actually of how a building works, right? So I just called him a couple months ago and I said, hey, I'm working on a hotel that needs sprinklers. It doesn't have sprinklers. I don't know anything about that. We want to have sprinklers. That's good. Good for security and good for
Right.
safety, right? Um, let's talk about that. We spoke for 10 minutes, and the amount of knowledge that he shared with me was just massive, right? So you're in mechanical engineering, and For a 5-year-old, Michael, what does that mean as it relates to other types of engineering? Like,
Hmm.
yeah.
Okay, so for a 5-year-old, it might be hard to explain the other types of engineering too.
Well, I'm like out of the mind of like a 9-year-old, so maybe do a 9-year-old.
Okay, okay. So yeah, other types of engineering that I mainly see if you exclude software, because that's mostly just coding. So you have like um, chemical engineers, electrical engineers, and then aerospace engineers, but that's kind of just like a subset of mechanical engineering. Um, but between
Hmm.
like chemical engineers, civil engineers, electrical engineers, and mechanical engineers, um, basically everybody just designs and sustains everything. Designs, builds, and like sustains the use of everything that exists. So mechanical engineering is probably the most broad. Civil engineering is also kind of a subset of mechanical engineering, and I guess technically chemical and electrical is too. But
Yeah, so like a
mechanical engineering
bridge.
is just
Like if I wanted to go, if I was a city engineer or a mayor, and we have a budget to go build a bridge somewhere, we would
mhm,
need a civil engineer and a mechanical engineer, right?
probably only civil engineers is fine.
Okay, got it. That's what they do.
Yeah, because civil engineering is we always make fun of them because they do everything that we do except nothing moves. So
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
yeah,
Oh,
it's
okay.
yeah, like I could make like a an engine, or like I could study the way water flows through pipes, or I could study the way a plane's wings push it up in the air. Whereas they're like, oh, they're really really advanced on the static, not moving studies. So it's like
Okay.
I have friends who are studying soil mechanics to study the way that dirt moves when you put a reinforcement beam in it. I have a friend who's in a steel reinforcement beam class for designing the different shapes of steel I beams that go in large buildings like hotels or parking garages and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. Whereas as a mechanical engineer, you can kind of do anything, but I didn't choose to go that deep in the static stuff. I was always interested in like engines and cars, so I was interested in like
Nice.
um,
Things that move. You're on the
yeah,
People Who Move
exactly,
podcast. That's
yeah.
cool. That's good. I didn't even know that, but that even fits you more.
Mm.
So you had mentioned HVAC units, right?
Yeah,
As a big subset of mechanical engineering, and it is a major subset or major part of the hotel industry. And I'll throw some stats your way. And for our millions of fans, right? So HVAC is heating, ventilation, air conditioning. Everyone's got one, hopefully in their house. If not, you're from where we're from. Was you're up north, and a lot of people don't. They just open up the windows in the summer, which is how I grew up. But yeah, it's your air conditioning unit, and there's a lot of so there are about 7.5 million hotel rooms in the United States. Did you know that?
I did not. That's a pretty big number.
It's about, yeah. So let's call it 7 million, right? And so yesterday, we as in the industry probably occupied 5 million of those rooms. Maybe over 50%, somewhere between 50, 60, 70%. Annually, we occupy 65, 70% of those guest rooms, and the average length of stay deeply affects the working order of these HVAC units. So almost every one of those hotel rooms has one unit in it, or it has I should say, the responsibility to cool or warm or make that environment singularly comfortable for the person paying to stay there, right?
Okay.
So you can have a VTAC, which is a vertical one. You can have a PTAC, which is a portable that goes through the wall and outside, that you see on the outside. There's multiple different ways. Some of them have central air, of course, and but they all have their responsibility. We, as in the industry, all have the responsibility to control the environment that's the best, most comfortable. It also has to do with mold and humidity control, right? Because
Mm.
if you're in Florida and you have high humidity, and you have a HVAC unit that's not working very well, and the humidity seeps in, you can have the unseen moisture that happens behind wall vinyl, or behind the bed that's growing, and you don't even know about it, and that's pretty scary. And a lot of it has to do with the HVACs. And so that's a quick 1, 2, 3 about how it relates to the hotel industry.
Mm.
And so the understanding of all that. Now, here's another fact, and this is a general, well, maybe it's more of an opinion, but most people who own hotels, right, they're real estate investors. They don't know about HVAC units. They're not mechanical engineers, right? They hire contractors that know HVAC units, right? So, and the chief engineers, like my friend John, they know about HVAC units. And hopefully, industry executives and leaders and owners, please listen to me. Hopefully, you're investing in their knowledge and their certification to be HVAC technicians.
Mm-hmm.
It's a few thousands of dollars. It's not hundreds of thousands of dollars to get them certified to use a particular type. Invest in those people and they'll save you tons of money going forward. So that's my quick soapbox there, Michael. But that knowledge is very specific. And for the most part, somebody like me who was a general manager and worked in all these other departments, I'm not certified. I never knew enough about HVAC units, yet I have 150 of them above me that I'm supposed to be responsible for, right? So the amount of knowledge is really important, and I think that I'm probably seeing a lot of heads nodding because it's just the case, right? We have 60,000 hotels out there in the United States, 7.5 million HVAC units, and the people running them are largely not really knowledgeable about how they work.
Right.
I'm going to leave it at that because I would encourage everyone watching this that just because Michael and anyone that has a mechanical engineering degree and is not working in the hospitality or hotel industry, it does not mean that you shouldn't pick up the phone and call them and say, I'm dealing with some major expenses, or I have 10 hotels and 1,000 guest rooms, and I am tracking the each PTAC unit or each HVAC unit in each hotel, and they're getting old. They're 7 years old, 8 years old. So I got my calculator here, and I'm thinking that this is going to be a major expense next year. So Michael, and I'm not asking you this now, but having somebody like Michael in your network that you can call to say, hey, what's the latest technology right now? I'm looking to, I got a big bill coming up next year, and I want to make sure that I'm doing something that's not going to be obsolete in 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge benefit for having somebody like you in the network. And I love that you're my nephew, of course, but I also love talking to you about stuff like that because I just don't know about it, and it's very helpful. So, you're graduating WPI. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And you're also graduating technically early, right? Or you're finishing your credits early, right?
Kind of, yeah. So the way WPI does it, they encourage you to take harder classes that you're like technically like able to pass or whatever. So they build in 3 like failures into your curriculum, and I didn't fail any classes, so I'm 3 classes ahead. So I'm done after we do quarters instead of semesters. So I'm
Oh,
just taking the last quarter off.
nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So I know the answer to this, but what are you doing with your extra time that you have? What have you decided to do and go?
Yeah, with the time that I'm taking, I have like 2 months off. So I have a few trips planned. I'm going to Oregon to visit my dad's friend, stay with her. That's gonna be fun for a few days. I'm going to New York City really quick to stay with my other friend who lives in Manhattan for like a weekend. And then the ones I'm going to by myself or with friends, I'm going to Zion National Park in April. I just booked that yesterday, actually. And then I'm going to Japan for 3 weeks with 2 of my buddies in May. That's after graduation, but that's before I start work in June. I'm really excited for all of those things.
Dude, I'm pumped for you. That's going to be incredible. So you're being selfish for me and my friends and viewers here. You're going to have tons of experience
Yeah.
that we if I'm an expert in the hotel industry, I've never been to Japan, right? And so
Yeah.
your experience over there is going to be really valuable. And I've already asked you for this, but I can't wait to interview you, and talk
Yeah.
about what you experienced over there. And also the your experience with like you had said that you're going to be staying in somebody's home, on Airbnb essentially,
Mhm.
when you're traveling over to Zion National Park. That's in Utah?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
Yeah,
Southwest Utah.
right. Yeah. Is that next to those it's called like Bryce or something like that? It's
Bryce
those
Canyon, it
amazing
might be. I don't know. I just started
yeah.
learning about it like 2 days ago, so I don't know that much. But I know I'm flying into Vegas and then I'm driving 2.5 hours to the Airbnb. That's all I know.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool. Oh, that's going to be awesome. That's going to be
Yeah.
so cool. And for someone in the hospitality industry, there's probably not a topic that I am more curious or interested about than what other people do around the world to serve people and to keep
Mm.
them safe or to make them happy and satisfied, or what kind of food you eat. I can talk about that all day long. And I
Right.
actually do talk about that quite often about food anyway. So,
Hmm.
all right, I'm going to bring up a screen here, and we're going to talk about something that you taught me, and I've been fascinated with, and that is the fact that for our millions of listeners out there, did you know that? Let me bring up my screen. Did you know that there is a hotel, or what is the oldest running hotel in the world? Right. I've asked this question to many people, Michael, and they'll say something anywhere from the Waldorf Astoria and the Ritz Carlton in Paris, or all these older hotels, and no one ever picks this one.
Hmm.
And when I ask them, how old do you think the oldest hotel is? And maybe I'll put a poll on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn Live, I love you, and I just love doing this. So maybe I'll put a poll on here before they watch this. And they do not. When I say they, when I ask them the question about um, the how old is the oldest hotel, they don't come within 800 years or
Yeah.
900 years. Where's
When
the
even when
oldest?
you
And
told me how old it was, I was shocked too. I was like, oh, it's probably like I'm not gonna say the number, but I was like, I was way off too.
so I'm going to zoom in here, and Michael is going to Japan, and I'm going to type in here. So for all you listening, and Michael, I'm going to, because you've been learning Japanese also, and so
Mhm.
I'm going to say Nishiyama Onsen Kyunkan.
It's pretty close. Yeah, that's probably how I'd say it. Nishiyama Onsen Kyunkan.
For all you watching, this is the oldest hotel in the entire world. And so, do you want to say how long it's been running, Michael?
Yeah, so I just looked it up again, but it's been open since the year 705. So that's I'll get my calculator because it's been a long time since I've done math. So if we're in 2024 minus 705, it's been open for 1,319 years.
That's just insane. It's
Yeah.
almost saying like I'm a multi-billionaire versus a 100 millionaire. I mean, it's just
Mhm.
1,300 years, and so this is even before the Vikings, um, of the 900s or whatever. And
I don't know much about Japanese history, but I'm pretty sure there was like many eras of complete war in the country. There was like, like samurais. Like I can't even imagine the type of people that must have stayed there. The amount of time
yeah,
it was.
seriously, and the yeah, that's just fascinating, and it looks to be near some like mountains. And so, what does Nishiyama Onsen Kyunkan mean?
So
Do you know any of
Nishiyama
those
means
words?
West Mountain, or that's just a name. But the characters, the first one means west, and the second one means mountain. And then onsen is how you say hot springs in Japanese. And then
Oh,
Kyunkan, I don't know. It's probably another
oh,
just
got it.
name.
All right, so it's West Mountain Hot Springs Kyunkan. Maybe it's the area.
Hmm. Yeah, if you zoom out,
Wow.
I think it's in Nishiyama, which is like an area which is pretty close to Mount Fuji.
Okay.
Yeah, if you zoom out a little more, you might be able to see. Oh no, okay. Yamanashi is the area that I was thinking of, but Yamanashi, yeah, you can see Mount Fuji down to the right. It's not very far from Mount Fuji.
Yep. Right here. Yeah, not too far. Other
Mm,
names that I recognize is Nagano. That is where the Winter Olympics was several
mm,
years ago, right? To give everyone, so over here you got Tokyo.
mm.
What, there's three main islands, right, of Japan? Is that right?
Yeah, there. Well, I think there's two. Actually, I don't really know. I know there's the big north one, and then there's the main island, which is called Honshu, and then there's is that south one an island too, or is that this? I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's probably main. Yeah, Kyushu, maybe.
Oh, Kyushu. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, wait, no,
So,
Kyushu's a
yeah, so you
state.
got Osaka,
Hmm.
Tokyo over here, and then the
And then right next
Nishiyama
to Osaka
Onsen.
is a very famous place called Kyoto, which is like the historic main touristy area with all the temples and stuff.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. You are spending 3 weeks there,
Mm,
and I'm gonna talk to you for about 3 weeks straight after you come back because your dad, my bro, went there many years ago. It's 20 plus years ago, and I remember what he told me. From his experience, he said, and this is when I was a hotel general manager at like a Hampton Inn,
mm,
and he brought me back like chopsticks, like a really beautiful sushi kind of box, and he said, "Bro, I would come in back to the hotel after work. I think he was there for work, and if there was somebody working in the hallway, like a housekeeper or something like that, every single time they stopped what they were doing and they just let me pass and they said hello or they bowed or did something. He goes, every single time, if
mm,
somebody was walking by and he noticed it, that they would do it to themselves too. Like they would offer that
each other.
kind of respect and care as people like entered their space maybe. So I'll never forget that. I'm really, you're going to have a really cool experience. So, one, for our friends out there, Michael and I spoke a couple months ago about his booking experience, and we did talk about the OTAs, so online travel agencies like Expedia and Hotels.com. I expressed to Michael the 25-year-old, call it conversation around hotel booking, whether you book direct at the Courtyard by Marriott in Princeton, New Jersey, or if you go onto OTA like Expedia.com and book through there for the Courtyard by Marriott in Princeton, New Jersey. And so there are that has grown into a massive $1 billion industry as it relates to online travel agencies that never existed before, call it 1998.
Mm.
So I was very curious about how you were like deciding on where to stay because you're going to stay at like what, 4 or 5 different places in Japan when you go, or locations.
I think five. Yeah.
Five. And so I had told you that it's very rare to experience the types of properties that you're going to be staying at in the United States because we haven't really gotten there yet. I think that Europe and Asia, they have been doing hosteling and doing it very well for a very long time. And the United States, this is my opinion, we're trying to make it fancy, right?
Yeah.
And it's a very expensive to own a hotel, and like converting something to a hostel when you're only charging 25 or 30 or $40 a night versus like the one next door that might be charging 200. It's difficult to work through that and navigate through, and so there's just not that many. And so
Mm.
you're going with how many friends?
Just two, three people total.
And you for example, you loved and love Fast and Furious movies. You love like I don't know the gaming and the what do you call it, the anime. Uh,
Yeah, I don't watch so much anime anymore. I did a lot when I was younger, but not really anymore.
yeah, and so but you're huge into cars and actually the how they work, of course, and how they move and the mechanics and the engines, and so you're going to do something there. You told me that you're going to be visiting a certain place, and I can't remember the name of it, but you're going to be able to like drive some cars like that you have only seen in movies before or something like that.
Yeah, no, there's this. We might do it, we might not, because I only have one friend who's technically old enough. I think you need to be like 24 to rent the cars. But in Tokyo, there's this place called like omoren, which means like it's like a conjugation for, or not conjugation, contraction for like interesting rental cars. And they have like all these super cool like Japanese cars that are like really like fast and like have like a niche like sort of racing history that you can rent. Um, and yeah, they don't have them in America, so it'd be really really cool to do.
Wow. And you're going to be able to drive, I guess, wherever you want. You're going to be able to see some great views and go on to those
Yeah,
streets like that, right?
the anime that I watched like when I was really really young that got me into cars is called Initial D, and it's about this kid who lives in Japan, and his dad owns a tofu shop, and he has to deliver tofu to a hotel on the other side of a mountain every day. And when he puts the tofu in the trunk of his little car, and in order to not destroy the tofu, his dad gives him this little cup of water to put in the cup holder, and he's like, if you spill the water, you'll destroy the tofu. So he does that same driving route up these crazy windy mountain roads every day since he's like 13, and he gets so good at controlling the car and like distributing the weight that he becomes like a super insanely fast street racer. And then it's about like his life and how he works up the ladder of becoming like the fastest in the entire
Very cool. What's that? It's called Initial what?
Initial D.
Initial D.
Yeah.
I remember you telling me about that story. That's really cool. And that's what got you into that. And you're going to be doing your own little Initial D type of driving over there, right?
Yeah, probably not that fast, but
No, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you might be going like when he first started, right? With trying to balance the
Yeah.
water, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but it's gonna be so
Um,
cool. I want to go see all those roads. The main plot of that is like the actual racing, and all those mountains that they have in the show actually exist in real life, and you can go there and drive on the roads and see where all the. I mean, I watched it so long ago, I don't really remember that much, but maybe I'll watch it again before I go.
that's going to be awesome. So you are also going over here. Get all my favorites over here. So you're flying into Vegas, you said, over here somewhere.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't see the map anymore, by the way.
Oh, sorry. Let me bring that up again. You're going to be going over to, excuse me, Zion National Park, which another place that I've actually not even been to Vegas very much. Vegas and Orlando are the call it the hotel hubs as far as like size, right? The
Hmm.
largest hotel in the United States technically is the Venetian, that has over 7,000 guest rooms, right? Um, so Las Vegas has the highest number of guest rooms in the United States, and Orlando has the highest number of hotels in the United States.
Hmm.
So they have much larger properties. They're up in Las Vegas, and so you're flying here, and then you're going.
It's like northeast from Vegas.
Northeast from Vegas. Okay.
Yeah, so if you zoom into the southwest corner of Utah, you can search it too. Yeah.
Ah. Oh man, it's gonna be beautiful, bro. That's so cool.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Yeah, but where I'm staying is I was looking on Airbnb for cheap spots because I have one friend who's not taking classes in the last quarter as well. But he's like, I absolutely have $0. I can't travel, so I'm going alone. But I wanted to find like the cheapest place possible So I was looking on Airbnb. I looked for hostels, but as you said, like the US just has like none. So I couldn't
Yeah.
find any. All the hostels were still like $100 a night. So I was like, this is not worth it. So I was looking on Airbnb and I noticed that like you have like the price filter and there's like all those bars to show you how many of them there are, and there were like a little bar bit below like the $50 range, so I slid the whole thing all the way down, and I saw there was like 4 or 5 people who would like rent out a room in their house for like $40 a night, and it's like you're staying in this person's house with their family and you share the bathroom and the kitchen with them, but it's super cheap and you just get a room, and I'm alone, so I don't care. So
Yeah.
yeah.
How do they you're able to see like reviews so that
Yeah, yeah.
they're not serial killers or something like that
Yeah,
for the
no, the one that I decided to stay with had like uh I don't know, like over 1,000 reviews, and it was like
Yeah.
4.9 something stars. So
You know,
everyone,
the evolution in a very short period of time with people feeling comfortable doing that has been amazing because at the start, that's why I said you're not staying with a serial killer. You know,
yeah,
back when this alternative lodging kind of innovation happened, it a lot of it started with glamping,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like, hey, I got a trailer in my backyard. I'm gonna fix it up and come over and stay in my backyard for $100. And when all that kind of started, we live next to the Grand Canyon, or you can come stay with us. And when this started happening, somebody would have their own website. They would just be their own entrepreneur trying to sell, and then they would somehow get in front of the customer. And now it exploded,
right,
and all of these little properties, or just homes and condos, Airbnb, and what we're I think the industry's calling STR, or short-term rental. They're trying to take back that term away from Airbnb, but Airbnb was an innovator, and I think the biggest innovation is what you just said. They have created a new mindset as it relates to travel,
mm,
and it created an alternative to experience something other than a traditional hotel, right?
mm,
And I think it's beautiful. You know, a lot of people in my industry, I don't necessarily jump into these conversations anymore, but it took over the conversations in like the boardroom, right, of hotel owners and managers. Airbnb's coming, and they're making a big dent into our industry, and it's like, no, all ships rise in high tide, and I think that it created more demand, and I thought it was a beautiful
mm,
thing for our industry, and so I looked at them as like another channel, right?
mm.
So another you can't go wrong with another channel. And I feel the same way about the OTAs too. There's a lot of negativity around Expedia and Hotels.com. They're just a channel, and you can manage it, but it's good for travel. It's good for allowing somebody like you to go travel to a place and put that lever down of the amount of you're technically called a price sensitive traveler, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
whereas the location didn't matter as much to you, you just wanted to be somewhere around there, right? So
right.
that's huge. And with technology now, it allows you to do that. I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, on the topic of comparing hotels to Airbnbs, I was explaining it to my mom a little bit yesterday, and I kind of, now that you've said all this, I feel like I was a little bit wrong, but because Airbnb is like a lot cheaper than like a traditional hotel in some ways. It can be more expensive too, but it's also like closer to the customer's like needs a little bit. I the way I compared it with my mom, to make her understand a little better, which again isn't that correct, is I was talking about how originally, when I was a kid, cable was like the standard for TV. Like everyone would watch cable and it's super expensive, but everyone buys it because that's the way you watch TV. And then all these things like Netflix and Hulu started coming out, and they changed the whole game. It's like it's so much cheaper. You get to watch exactly what you want. You don't have to watch ads. And I was like, well, hotels are like cable and Airbnb is like streaming, but it's not. That's what you were saying people were worried about, but it's not the case because the gap of actual like quality of stuff you're getting and the price is not as big as it is with cable and streaming.
Yeah. it's the game changer in hotels is growing to become more, and I think this is good, the capability and the call it the bandwidth of
Mm,
what one hotel can offer somebody,
mm,
right? And the space that's involved there. That's why architects and designers and mechanical engineers and the STEM uh, individuals that are even financial engineers and financial analysts. I think the opportunity in the hotel industry specifically is going to explode and become nothing like it is cable. It's
mm.
currently there's nothing about streaming about the hotel industry.
Yeah.
The last innovation, you type in innovation in hotels, and you'll get a picture of Barry Sternlicht, who's a amazingly famous and popular and brilliant hotelier. He started Starwood. A lot of these hotels like W Hotels, the Luxury Collection, independent, huge in Asia, huge in Europe, beautiful. And a lot of people say the last innovation in hotels was when he created the heavenly bed for Westin hotels, right? It
Mm,
was a wonderful thing for hotels because Westin hotels kind of brought out partnered with Serta and they developed the heavenly bed and really put a lot of money and thought into the comfort of bedding.
mm.
So from the year 705 until 2024, the last innovation they say is in bedding. That's not very exciting.
Yeah.
But I think that the when we start talking about how we use space inside and outside, meaning connecting with community, connecting with experiences and partnerships, I think that is going to dictate the next 25 years of hospitality, particularly in hotels. It's going to be with the people with creative ideas about saying, I don't think that meeting room should be a meeting room anymore. I think it should be makerspace.
Mm,
I want to get Michael Zimbruski in here with a mechanical engineering background and have him work with an architect and say, design me a makerspace where somebody can bring in like 3D printing, into our hotel so that they can come over and rent it and have a little corner in the back where they rent out maintenance materials for local maintenance engineers, and snow blowers in the snow, things like that. And so let instead of this top floor that or second to the top floor that doesn't get rented as much as the top floor, they got great views. Why don't we convert some of that to employee use? Maybe childcare for our the single moms of the world, or possibly into healthcare and other uses. There are so many barriers to all that, and I think that the minds of people like you, Michael, are going to help us get there. And so that's not really a soapbox for me. I mean, it's a little bit, but I think that is the next wave of the future, and it is creativity and innovative minds. So we can start to finish up here, but I did want to talk about that topic, and that is high school and college experience and the hotel industry in particular. I've been doing a lot of work, like actually going physically into high schools and into colleges, and I've been highly engaged in DECA.org. And if anybody's listening, watch this. Just go to DECA.org and say, how do I get involved? And it's changed my perspective for business and for the
mm,
next 25 years. And I'll just leave it at that. The You're in college, you're a mechanical engineer, you were in high school. Did you get a lot of anybody visiting like career day? You know what I mean? Like, did they do a lot of that?
Not in high school. In college, we have the career fair, but I hate the career fair. It's terrible. It's you go into the big basketball court in the gym, two basketball courts, and it's just like they set up all these like hallways, and each company has a table, and it's just filled with people, and it's like the amount that you have to like do to make a connection with somebody in that short amount of time has never been something that I've been that good at. So some people have
Yeah,
luck, some people get interviews off of it, but it's just like an absolute, like, it's just a mob. Like it's
it's a
not.
mob, right? And how often did they do that every year? Was it
It's
like
twice
once
a
a year?
year. They actually just had it
Twice a
last
year.
week, but thank God I already had a job, so I didn't have to go.
So the equivalent of that is what, and everyone who's listening, they know how much love I have for hotel management companies and the employers,
Hmm.
because I started one, I managed one, I worked at the hotel level, I've worked at the ownership level and asset management and investment level, and doing what we're doing right now, having a conversation, doing what your dad and my brother are doing every week, having a conversation every week, inviting people in to talk about these things. Me and many of my friends and partners at Hospiamo, we actually go visit high schools, right? I'm
Hmm.
going there again. I've been there 5 times in the past 2 months, and I'm going again just for, it's going to take 5 hours of my day, but I'm going to go judge a competition where high school students are, it's awesome through DECA.org, where they have to, they have 10 minutes to prepare a situation, and you're in a role playing scenario with a judge, and they have to present their ideas, and
Hmm.
it is phenomenal. And that has been what I've learned that we, as in our industry in the hotel industry, need to actually do. And that's why we call this People Who Move, right? We invite people in here that are not renting a trade show table twice a year to go talk to college students,
Right.
are not just, going out there to the hotel investment conferences once, twice, 3 times a year. And you go there and it's a networking event, and you might go learn a couple things, but, and you get construction agencies and designers and architects that are all going there just so they can present their ideas to these investors with money, right? To say, hey, come work with us. And they do it 2 3 times a year. And I am feeling the same way that you're feeling, Michael, about
Hmm.
career fairs. I find them to be these industry events, maybe not a complete waste of time, but I could tell you it's a waste of money,
Yeah.
especially with the changing technologies of how we communicate today. So I'll leave it at that. I could stay on with you for another couple few hours and couple
Yeah.
few months talking about stuff. So to recap, we're gonna hear your. I would love to have you back on the show, to talk about your experiences in Japan
For
and
sure.
over the next couple months, and uh, at these alternative lodging properties,
Hmm.
and all your experience about how the service is. Very
Yeah.
specifically, as a little teaser, we're going to talk about the service that you're experiencing in Japan versus the service that you're experiencing or have experienced in maybe New York when you stay there.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a fascinating conversation,
Hmm.
because I come from the perspective of a 50-year-old bald guy with glasses and a beard in the industry, and you're coming from a very different perspective. And I think that this show that we have every week, that's what it's all about: diversity of perspective.
Hmm.
Everybody's different. Everyone comes from a different place. They have preconceived notions, and that's what we're talking about here. So, thank you, man. Thank you for
Yeah.
coming over here. If anybody, Michael recently got a job. Congratulations, and I'm totally psyched for you. So he's not looking for work, but if you do want to get in touch with Michael, if you own those 10 hotels and you got some HVAC units that are getting old in age and you need any advice, call me, and I'll ask Michael if he can spend some time with you. But we can maybe price out and get some bids and send it on out. They are very price sensitive, like you are price sensitive traveling to
Yeah.
Zion National Park. So thank you. We will end it here, Michael. I love you, and I'm so proud of you, and I can't wait to talk to you next. And thanks for spending time with our millions of fans here.
Yeah, of course. No, I love you too. I'm really I'm happy that I got to come on here and talk to you. We don't talk enough, so this is good.
I wish I could talk to you every day. I wish I wish you would. Maybe I'll jump on a flight to Japan with you, and we can spend. You can drive me around with that. I'll hold that bottle of water with a cup of water.
Yeah, yeah, the fancy car. Awesome. Yeah, it was great talking to you too. Thanks again for having me, and I'll see you soon.
My pleasure. We'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.